Hello, 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 Internet. Hi. I am your androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades. And this, everybody, is the first episode or first stream as part of Phantom Arts Fest. So excited to send you all of this. If you don't know what Phantom Arts Fest is, I have so many fantastic members in my tabletop RPG community, and all of them are fantastic GMs and writers and creatives, and I decided that I would run an event where everybody could go and run a game of their own vibe, their own flavor. All of us as creators have very different perspectives on what makes a good storytelling game, and I want to go and demo my chops as a producer, so I helped all these delightful people put their delightful stories together, and I am so fucking excited to be able to share all of them with you. Let us introduce, thank you for the follow, Helen Cornett. While we're doing this, they'll probably, while we're live, and especially while we're in story time, we won't really be able to respond to chat or to follows and bits and pieces very much, so please do get your follows and cheers now while we can respond to them, thank you. To introduce our first GM and delightful human being / goblin, please welcome to the stage, Draco.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. I'm very excited to open this first game up, and I hope we have a fun and spooky and possibly a little bit scary existential time.
Perfect. What would you say the top line for Mothership is as a game?
Oh, goodness. How did I describe this before? I would say that Mothership as a game is existing in the sci-fi space future where humanity has figured things out in a pretty good way right up until things go horrifically wrong. Yeah, there you go.
And this particular scenario we'll be playing today, you mentioned to me, it's a bit of an interesting fusion of systems and settings.
Yes. So previously I have kind of created my own little niche of area of the Lancer setting called Nova Terminal Station. It is a post-scarcity universe, or at least mostly post-scarcity, as long as you are close enough to one of the core worlds. And the game Lancer is generally about, well, Lancers, those wonderful knights in shining armor that are the highest tier of pilots of mecha in the world. But today, while we are playing in the same universe, we are playing a bunch of blue-collar workers who just happen to exist in the same universe. Hence, this changeover of rule sets to Mothership. We're out in space, so some spooky stuff might have to happen.
Oh, nothing spooky happens in space. It'll be fine.
You know.
To go through our fantastic players who are joining us today, please, we'll introduce those who are new to our channel first, so people who are tuning in might not have seen them on the Neon Caster before. Please, everybody, welcome to the stage, Ty.
Hello. I am new to streaming in general.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you for stepping up to the plate and doing something new and exciting. In terms of like tabletop RPGs, what's your vibe? What kind of tabletop RPG are you?
I am typically your D&D chaos bringer, but I'm more than happy to do that in space.
Fantastic. It was delightful to have you here. Also appearing on the Neon Caster channel for the first time, but definitely not the last this weekend. Please, everybody, give a warm welcome to Kira.
Hey, nerds.
How you doing? Introduce yourself and the fantastic stuff that you do. You're a podcaster and also an actual play person, if I recall.
Yeah, I make a dumb little podcast called Unsound Theories. I watch movies with no sound and no subtitles, and then I do chaotic things talking about them.
Hell yeah! That I've never considered the idea of trying to interpret a movie from just cinematography alone. Actually, now that I come to think about that, that's wild. Definitely have to check that out.
It gets so wild.
And two returning fantastic folks, and who will also actually be GMing sessions across this weekend. Please welcome to the stage, Tom.
Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. Looking forward to this action-packed weekend of streaming and horror and dice-based madness.
Yeah, we have a lot of horror games in the lineup this weekend, entirely independent of each other. And
that
makes me smile. I like that a lot. They're all very different types of horror as well. So please do pop in across the weekend and check out how different all of these little pieces of horror are. Speaking of a little piece of horror, last but by absolutely no means least, please welcome to the stage Ruben.
Thick as hell, living twice as well. What's good, everyone?
Oh, that's a new one. I like that one.
Yeah, no, we gotta vary it up.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, a lot of horror. I'll be doing something on Sunday, which is very exciting.
Yes, very exciting. Now, is there any bits and pieces that you would like to introduce? Oh, actually, while we'll go over this, we can go and do a bit of the scroll of the credits. We have a whole bunch of bits and pieces that have been put to this together. Maps and character portraits and sound effects and music. I've been doing my best as a producer to try and help everybody's streams and storytelling shine the best it can. But I hope you enjoy the story that we're putting together today. Do you have any final thoughts, Draco, before I move over to game screen?
No, I think I'm good to go.
Okay. Well then, everybody. I am going to be muting myself and just sitting and chatting, enjoying the story along with all of you. I hope that all of you enjoy 3 clones and a drone.
Hello, everyone. As said before, my name is Draco, and I am going to be your GM for the day. For this session, we'll be playing Mothership, and I'm sure that this is going to be the first time some of the people in our audience are going to be encountering this system. So we'll occasionally do a little bit of explanation of game mechanics as we go through the game. But to start things off, it is another day on Nova Terminal Station, a former spaceport and resort turned pirate haven turned legitimate shipping hub, we promise. And you, my lovely players, have all taken a job with the local vessel inspection company to continue justifying your reasonably nice accommodations on the station. Thankfully, in retrospection's human factor means that you don't have to actually go and look at these derelicts yourself. Let me see if I can... Oh no, the audio file didn't play like I wanted it to. Well, in any case, in retrospection promises that instead of, endangering your own actual body, you'll be brain diving into remote-controlled quick drones, or clones, I should specify, drones in the case of the NHP employees, allowing you to inspect these often dangerously neglected ships in person without ever being in any real danger. Which is a good thing, because today you've drawn a real doozy of an inspection. Now, as some of you out in the audience may have just heard me use the term NHP, or non-human person, yes, as said before, we will not be playing in the actual Lancer system, merely playing workaday folks actually existing in that universe. So let's go ahead and introduce the characters that will be taking part today. Let's go ahead and... how do I want to do this? Let's start from... we'll start with Ty, since they're the tops in the splash screen.
All right. I am Commander Ava Flix, otherwise known as Overt Ops, ex-Marine. And...
Anything fun you want to share
Anxious.
about? Okay. Bit of an anxious person. All
Yeah,
right.
this is her first mission.
Oh, first time going out with in retrospection. Okay, good to know. Good to know. I will just make a note of that very quickly. Next up is going to be Tom. Who are you playing?
Excellent. Thank you very much, Draco. I shall be playing Sir Sebastian Woolley, a renowned scientist and study of planetology, archaeology and botany, but unfortunately it hasn't made quite as much money as I'd like, so asteroid mining and going through derelict spacecrafts seems to be my want. but I'm sure this will go a lot better than the 47 other missions that I've been on, and 45 deaths counting.
Oh, yeah. They can't all go bad, can they?
Absolutely not. No, no, no.
All right. Next up, character-wise, is going to be Kira.
So I am playing Fretful Toy, the NHP of the group, who is definitely completely connected to reality and the human perception of the world, and nothing could go wrong.
Excellent. We love to have a completely reasonable demigod level being just hanging out with the rest of the party.
Absolutely.
And last but certainly not least, Ruben, who are you going to be playing today?
Covet Starwind reporting for duty. On my personal file, it says that I am a janitor, but don't let that fool you. I'm actually a space hero working undercover. I'm sure nothing will go wrong with this ragtag crew of, well, my underlings. We'll make it out okay, and we'll save the planet yet.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Obviously, there are, a few things that might go wrong, but I'm sure you'll be able to deal with them, right?
No, they won't.
Well, let's go ahead and jump straight into the action. Since there is no real reason for you to bop around the station for too terribly long, we will go ahead and go automatically to the shuttle itself. So, you actually are going to do your brain dive while aboard the shuttle that is taking you to your destination. It seems like a local mining concern has dragged in what was formerly a station buried in an asteroid, for lack of a better short explanation. These were common a few hundred years ago as long-term asteroid belt mining posts, and it appears that this company wants to sort of recoup and reclaim this old post to maybe possibly put it back in service. One of the twists for this game is that due to your mission, you're not out here necessarily as valiant explorers of space, or people trying to recover a lost message capsule or anything like that. You're workaday folks. So your whole purpose for being here is to find as many issues with this station as possible and pass along that information to Nova Terminal's repair crews so that they can effectively upcharge the owners of the station for the actual repairs. So, as you make your initial approach and begin to brain dive into the standing by quick clones who are already suited up and ready to make their jump across to the station, you get notified by the pilot that it looks like Felicity Station, which is the rock that you're currently heading straight for, has a massive problem with its docking structure. It looks like there was at one point a central stack that allowed transport shuttles to sort of head into the station, but the docking arms seem to have been blown apart or perhaps damaged in some sort of micrometeorite accident. And so the pilot wants to know if you're going to want to try to float across from the shuttle to this sort of docking port that is a central spine on the station, or if you want him to land on the asteroid's surface and walk across to one of the airlocks.
A terrible feeling of deja vu about this.
Covet listens to the report and goes like, "Understood. We'll have a think about it." Oh God, what do we do?
Well, suppose we should turn to our survival experts for this, though I wouldn't say I'm adverse to a bit of a walk, be it through space or across the asteroid.
Yeah, I mean, we can totally tie ourselves together and spacewalk this bitch. We got this.
Excellent.
So, it sounds like you guys are choosing to float across and try to access the station through its central spine. Okay. unless I misinterpreted that. Yeah?
Pretty sure that's the plan.
Okay, cool beans. So, you tell the pilot that and fly your way up to the an area just above the crest of this central dome that sticks out of the asteroid. By this point, you have, of course, dived into your remote bodies, and let's see. I think at least 2 out of the 4 of you have done this before, yes, but I know that Overt Ops, this was your first time doing a dive like this, yes?
Yeah, I am still just checking out the replicated body, like poking my arms, feeling my face.
Okay. Just to kind of do a quick warm-up roll and sort of demonstrate the system itself. This is a D100 roll under system, but greatly streamlined from things like Call of Cthulhu. So let's go ahead and have you make a body save as you dive into your body.
All right. That is a 2.
Excellent.
Should be a success.
I should hope so. If you had a body save of 1, I would be severely concerned. You managed to kind of hold down your clone equivalent of lunch, which I'm sure was some sort of nutrient goop slurry that you've just been dumped out of, and not fall on your face immediately as you step out of the pod.
Moving butter. Ooh.
Yep.
Has Overt Ops told Duress that this is going to be her first duty?
If I haven't, I'm positive it is painfully obvious.
Covet picks up on this and goes like, "Hey, don't worry. There's a first time for everything." And then immediately tries to go outside of the spaceship without first wearing his spacesuit.
Oh, dear.
Wait.
What are you doing, boy? Stop!
Wait. I was testing you, and you all passed the test that I gave you. Good job.
Of course we passed. Where else
Say
do you
this.
need professionals?
I'm glad to see it, hear it, feel it, know it. I'm not terrified.
What's your stress level at there, buddy?
2, voice of God.
Okay, so we will go ahead and introduce the stress mechanic right now. And since you've just given me an opportunity for this, I would like you to make me a panic check.
Oh no, me and my big mouth. Absolutely.
This is going to be roll a d20, and you want to get higher than your current stress.
One d20 coming right up.
Okay, so yeah, no, you managed to hold it together. You're believably calm for the most part, but that may change soon. We'll find out. So, you all managed to get yourselves suited back up and check all of your seals. Everything seems to be going well. Make sure to have your inventory lists in front of you that you might have access to any tools that you might need. Once the shuttle reaches its best position, or the best sort of geosynchronous orbit that it can over this open location, you begin the depressurization process, and it's a relatively easy float across in this case. It's pretty much just a straight shot, in fact. There are no defensive systems to deal with. There are no, active explosions or anything like that. But let me just do one little thing here. And as you start to approach the station, everybody's suits begin to crackle and click, and each and every one of you realize that the Geiger counters built into your suit's sensor suites are running a little hot right now. Not deadly, not yet, but certainly probably want to be a little bit careful and watch those ticks as the inspection goes on.
Anyone else hear
Great.
that?
Yes, I hate this radio station. It's like young people's music.
This is wonderful. It will deter the time parasites.
The
Sir.
what?
I'm with Overdops here. The what now?
The time parasites.
The Pime Terracite? Never heard of those. Interesting.
Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
So,
I knew
as you
space
just
bees were real.
as you descend through this central open column, you can see that yes, in fact, the docking mechanisms have been blown apart, as if whatever ship most recently left did so in as quick a fashion as possible.
Hmm.
And you can see that there are entrances to the station on a number of levels. But that the one at the topmost level seems to have already been partially cracked open in the explosion. Now, you could certainly proceed further down in and try your luck at gaining entry lower down, or you could simply, push open the busted airlock and see if you can make your way inside right at the top. How are you feeling?
I was going to ask, do we have an idea of where there might be the sort of central reactor or something like that? Assuming if we are getting radiation signatures from this, it's most likely to be a leak near there. So maybe starting our journey the furthest point from there might be the best idea.
Assumably, based on the standard plans that you were handed for this type of station, the central reactor would actually be deep, deep down within the asteroid itself, even below the station's NHP core.
Okay.
So lowest possible level.
Well, our job still entails that we just find out what's wrong. I think we can write this one down as wrong, but I think we should just take it from the top, slowly make our way down, and see what else this station's got in store for us.
Sure thing.
Sensible approach.
Absolutely.
By the way, does anyone know if we get paid more the more things we find wrong?
We
Out of
get
character,
paid.
yes.
Within reason.
Mm, essentially, to give you you and the viewers an idea of how this universe works, because it is post scarcity, the concept of pay isn't really a thing, but you are certainly given more leeway in how many materials and supplies you use up on the station. The more that you actually do in return for the station. So if you make the repair boys a big buck off of this corp, oh yeah, this might be one day of work out of the next 3 months. But if you find exactly one thing wrong, well, you're going to be back at the grind tomorrow.
So it's a we break it, they buy it kind of situation.
Entirely possible if that's how you want to run it.
I like the suggestion there. Let's keep that in mind in case
Mhm.
this place is too good.
Okay. So you make your way into the what quickly reveals itself to be the northern garage bay for the station. And I will go ahead and start up the station's theme since we are now properly on board.
By the way, I need to know during the descent who canonically went wee aside from Covet. No one? Okay, cool.
Nobody?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, Fretful was absolutely waving a knife around like a crab having a seizure.
Oh, God. And well, we're rappelling down a rope. Interesting.
It's gonna
Gotta keep
lengthen
the
that
time
tether by a
parasites
couple
away.
inches.
I mean, it's a steel rope. Yeah, you're probably fine, right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
I gotta say, Fretful, it's great that you're keeping us safe from all these time parasites.
Well, it's impossible to be completely safe from a time parasite, but there are measures we can take.
Covet looks Fretful deep into its eyes and goes, "What do you mean? Not completely safe."
Well, it's a time parasite.
You need to explain more than that.
It's a parasite
Oh,
that lives in time, and it eats your time.
what?
Well, you see, time is, well, it's sort of like, how do I describe this? It's like a big cookie, right? And if you eat the cookie, there's no more cookie.
Covet looks at Sir Wooly and asks, "Is that true? Is time like a big cookie, Mr. Scientist?"
We'll get the look of sort of pained. I'm probably too old for this crap from what it says. If that helps your understanding of the situation, then yes, sure, a big cookie. One of those with raisins in.
With
Those are the bad
raisins?
days.
They have raisin cookies here. This shit needs to be destroyed as fast as possible. No, thank you, Fretful, for explaining time parasites. I trust you with my life now.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. So, as you push your way in through the broken airlock door, you look around this sort of northern garage, and I am, of course, saying north in the most esoteric way. You've basically decided that, yes, this is the first place we're heading into, so this is north. There's no real polar designations here, but for the sake of simplicity, the northern garage. And the place looks like it's been cleaned out. There are, you're used to this sort of place having, maybe one or two vehicles inside it, maybe some spare parts, things like that. But this place actually looks immaculate, barring one small square broken robot sitting over near the northern exit to this northern garage. And if you give me just a moment, boop. There, he should be on your screen now. Hopefully. There he is. Just a nice little square robot.
Oh, yay!
But unfortunately, this one is broken. Looks like it's been
no.
smashed in some way, shape, or form. Possibly in the explosive decompression that happened. Which might also give you a hint as to why there aren't generally things in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if somebody wants to gain further information about this, they'll have to roll something about it.
Can
Or-
anyone...
I was going to say you can also proceed to either of the two designated airlocks to either side to actually enter the station proper.
I was wondering, because I have a skill in industrial equipment. Would a robot be considered as such?
Oh, I'd consider this one, yes.
Then I would love to try and repair it.
Okie dokie. Go ahead and give us a roll about it. I am going to give you disadvantage because this thing is rather destroyed, but
Okay.
it's not impossible.
Okay, so, how do I roll this?
So disadvantage would be 2 D100s, and you keep the highest one in this case.
Right, and...
Since we are trying to roll under your, let's call it... Oh, this would probably be intelligence plus industrial, I believe. Or intellect, excuse me.
Oh no.
Well, unfortunately, it is a rather busted robot. Like I said, it appears you do get a little bit of identification on what's actually wrong with it here. And you do also gain another point of stress from having failed the roll. But thankfully, neither of those were critical failures, so you don't incite a panic check for one small, broken, adorable robot.
Covet closes the next thing that the robot would have as eyelids and puts them to rest.
Amazing. Are you going to leave the bits here, or are you going to take it with you?
Covet is done mourning, so is not interested in the remnants anymore.
Okay, fair enough. In cleaning up the bits and pieces of this, you have also managed to dust off a section of the floor by accident, revealing that you are actually standing on the closed top of what appears to be a vehicle lift, giving you another option should you wish to descend to the next floor immediately instead of going in through the internal airlocks here.
Can we have a quick look around to see what level of power we've got? If the station's operating on surprisingly large amounts of our own very much emergency power.
It seems to be a little bit flickery between full power and emergency power, almost as if that reactor leak that you kind of guessed at earlier is influencing how much power the reactor can put out all at once, but not to the point of actually shutting everything down. So everything will go from, sort of bright standard lighting 1 second to red flashing lights back to the full power, or even, rolling brownouts sort of a thing.
Well, if we're starting top to bottom, perhaps through the airlocks. The group's opinion on that. You can always try the lift as a alternate way of getting down.
All right. So you have a choice of 2 airlocks. Are you going to keep the party together or split the party up?
Looks directly into camera. Well, I've seen enough horror films to know we shouldn't, but should we?
I don't think there's a need yet.
Yeah, no, I vibe with that. Let's stay together for now.
Yeah, fine with that.
We should definitely stay together.
Looks at the knife that's presumably still equipped in Fretful Toy's hand. Yes, together.
Please don't leave me alone with them.
Okay. Do you want to do any sort of checks on the airlocks before you open them, or do you want to just, activate the panels at hand?
Is there any way with my skill in military training to recognize if there's any type of critical failure that could occur if we do open it from the outside?
You know what?
It's very non-specific military training, so...
You know what? Yes. Give me an intellect plus, do you have a skill that you would like to apply to this? Oh yeah, military training is a skill, so yeah.
Yes.
And you know what? I'll give it to you.
Would it be feasible for me to also perhaps assist with this, as I've got the expert skill of asteroid mining, which I assume is mostly done in a sort of very zero-G environment and may have some levels of airlock knowledge required for it?
This is actually exactly your bailiwick. You are familiar with stations of this type. So I will go ahead and say you can go ahead and make this roll as well. Okay. This will be intellect as well.
All right. That is a failure. Looks fine.
It's also a failure.
Amazing.
Perfectly together still.
Amazing.
Oh, the firmware's not up to date, I'll say on it. Stabbing his thumb into the pad repeatedly. Oh.
Excellent. So that puts you closest to the doorway then, yes?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. Well, both of you take another point of stress for your failure. And let's go ahead and roll a little bit. Well, okay. You wouldn't take any damage from what's about to happen because you are in fact still in your spacesuits. But you are going to get tossed around a little bit as the system is not prepared to cope with the fact that the garage is at 0 pressure. And this internal airlock was not designed to open when said garage is at 0 pressure. But the computer system can't tell the difference. It doesn't know that there's a cracked door. So as you open the internal airlock, of course, all of the air that had been slowly leaking out comes out in one solid jet, and you are thrown up against the back wall.
And we're flying.
Ow.
Mm-hmm. Could have been worse, but it's still embarrassing.
I thought you said nothing was wrong.
I tapped it, it dinged, it sounded close.
That's the tried and true Covet Starwind method, so can't fault you there.
Mm-hmm.
What the
What?
heck's going on anyway? Why is there no air in a space station? I think there should be some.
It was cracked open, right? Out of character?
Yes, the garage that you're in is the one that has the blown apart bulkhead.
I'm just gonna point to that.
Yeah.
How did I not see that?
It's okay.
It'll be fine. Just a minor setback. I'm sure it's probably the worst thing that'll happen today. Get it out of the way early.
Gonna knock on a steel plate. Yeah, we got this.
The future equivalent of wood, apparently.
Closest we got nowadays.
Yeah, fair.
Who's ever seen a tree, honestly?
Were
Oh, I
trees
see
real?
them all the time.
I've studied all manner of trees, pictures of trees, images of trees, carvings of trees.
Sir Wooly, name one tree.
I called one Bert.
Fantastic.
I'd like to meet Bert.
When we're all done here, can we maybe go and meet Bert together?
I'm afraid his bark was worse than his bite.
I toss the professor out of the airlock.
It's a short distance. You're all still suited up. It's, it's maybe 30 feet tops, and in zero gravity, or at least microgravity.
Get
It's not that hard.
Get that out of my system before the survival horror bit starts.
Okay.
All right. In we go.
Mm-hmm.
I pull
make
out
your-
my tiny combat knife and lead the way.
How tiny is the combat knife? Are we talking like Gerber size, or are we talking like Swiss Army knife?
Like if a
but on a
mechanical
keychain?
pencil, if a mechanical pencil had an X-Acto blade like taped to it with Scotch tape,
Mm-hmm.
that.
Excellent. So good for cutting mat board, not necessarily much else.
Tactical.
All right. So you make your way into this internal airlock and are greeted with, a bunch of racks upon which spacesuits can be hung. Currently, all 5 of the suit racks in this room are empty. And as the door closes behind you and the room begins to repressurize, I want to know, is anybody going to take their suit off?
I have a question. Were we informed if people were still on this station when we were doing a maintenance check?
So officially, the station was an abandoned derelict that was found on a mining survey.
Yeah.
So that's why they brought it in to have it serviced and inspected, so they could hopefully bring it back up under new management.
So during a briefing, we would have been told like there's no one else here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm gonna take my spacesuit off, baby.
Okay. Let's see. That's Covet, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as I unzip the and screw off the spacesuit helmet, the immaculately brill creamed coif emerges and whips up like a radar antenna.
All right. Anyone else, or are the rest of you staying suited up?
I'm gonna wait.
I think I'm gonna wait for now.
Okay. Well, there is an open bay, and you can certainly leave your suit there. It will recharge its air significantly faster than doing the passive recharge that everybody else's suits are going to begin doing as pressure is maintained. But I'm not going to leave everybody high and dry just yet. So, moving from the airlock into the station proper, you enter what appears to be a sort of a locker room, a ready room, a meeting room. There are a few benches on one side, some lockers, but nothing of terrible interest, other than perhaps a hatchway that leads downward, further into the station. And two more doors that are marked airlocks 1 and 2. Looking back, the door you came through is labeled airlock 3. So this makes sense. Just looking at the layout, one probably leads to the southern garage, and the other leads directly out onto the asteroid itself.
If there's so many airlocks around, I think I'm just gonna put my spacesuit back on.
Take a few moments, put your spacesuit back on. While Covet is doing that, would the rest of you like to investigate anything? Look for further damage or missing equipment?
Yeah, I think a bit of minor exploration. See if I can't remember who of the group's got computer skills, but see if we've got any panels or diagnostic type things kicking about. As I suspect there might be in this kind of area.
Yeah, I can try to find like a terminal and hack into it and check out like security camera footage and stuff.
Sure thing. Well, the closest screen in this room is just a simple display of what suits are essentially parked in the airlocks connected to this room. You can see that out of the 15 slots for suits in the 3 connected airlocks, only 2 make that 1 as Covet puts the suit back on. It still has a suit left inside it. But you can pretty easily find a way to connect to the terminal here. The system, as you begin to try and connect to it, seems a little more limited than what you're generally comfortable with, but maybe you can do something about that. If you could give me...
I've got hacking.
Excellent. So give me intellect plus hacking.
Okay. I did it.
Excellent.
Oh my God.
Okay. And with such a great success, I will give you a little bit of an extra piece of information because you were dramatically below the limit that you needed to roll for. So you're able to gain access to the basic security systems of the station, and they are rather basic. You can see cameras on several levels, but most of them seem to be focused towards the crew quarters level, which kind of makes sense. It was a mining colony, after all. Not necessarily worked by the best and least rowdy people in existence. Stuck out on an asteroid in the middle of space with no supplies, stuck in a tin can with the same group of 30 to 40 people day in, day out. So, yeah, the cameras tend to be focused on mostly the places that people would expect fights to break out, those sorts of things. But one thing you do notice is that the system seems to be running at a much lower level of automation than you would expect. As far as you can tell from the generalized plans of a station of this type, it should have had an NHP, much like yourself, but you don't detect any other mind within the system. This is just basic automation. You do a little bit of digging and find that there actually should be a hookup to an NHP core, but the system can't contact it.
That's strange. My friend isn't home. I wonder if it's visiting another friend.
Okay.
Distinctly concerning.
At the very least, another note to make on what might possibly be broken within the station. But we'll find out a little bit more about that as we go. How about the other two of you? What are you up to?
I'm just looking for anything, I guess, obviously busted, like wires sticking out of places they shouldn't be, fog machines that got left on.
As we all know, the future runs on Roscoe Fog.
Hmm?
So, as you do a little bit of further exploration, you poke your head through into the southern airlock connected. I think it would have been airlock 1 that is connected to the southern garage, and it looks like all the pressure systems here are in the green. And would you like to actually poke your head further into the garage itself?
How far would that take me away from the group?
Let me do some quick maths. 20 feet tops.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll poke my head in the garage.
Okay. You poke your head into the southern garage, and it looks like there is the remnants of what I would describe as a rock hopper here in this one. It's not quite perfectly sitting on top of its vehicle elevator, but it is at least a well in put together chassis, although it looks like it's been stripped for parts mostly.
All right. I'll write that down on my little clipboard. Turn around.
Alrighty. You do see a second airlock on the other side of the southern garage. Probably mirrors this one, but for the opposite side of the station. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
And Sir Sebastian, are you up to anything in particular, or just kind of poking around? Did we lose Sir Sebastian?
Oh, apologies. No, I think he was probably just doing a bit of observation and watching everybody else, given his talents aren't probably much use at this point until we get
Fair
a bit
enough.
further in.
Well, then I think at this point, Covet is ready to rejoin, fully suited back up. And where would you like to explore next? Again, your options are to wrap further around through the southern garage into the eastern part of the station, or to begin your descent via the vertical ladder and hatchway in this room.
Quick question: is our Geiger counter still going off?
It seems to be much more muted, actually, inside the station. So if you want to try and figure out why that might be, maybe roll something about it, but at the very least, you are all significantly safer from radiation where you are at currently.
Okay, let's see. I would love to start descending down deeper into the belly of the beast, as it were. Is the descent like a safe one? Because they mentioned an elevator, but also a staircase.
So, you do technically have 2 vehicle elevators available to you, one in each of the garages, and then you also know for a fact that you have a vertical ladder and sort of what I would describe as an airlock system. If you've seen classic Star Trek with the Jeffries tubes, that's the sort of thing that you'd be moving through.
Gotcha.
They have the ability to seal at each floor level, so if you really needed to and or discovered another area that was depressurized, you could cycle an airlock. It would take some time, but currently where you're at, all systems look green, so you should be able to just descend directly to the next floor.
Gotcha. I think, yeah, I want to hail one of the vehicle elevators and invite the party over, or whoever is willing.
Okay. Well, the one in the southern garage is actually in its up position right now, so you could ride it down as long as you push the rock hopper either fully onto the elevator or fully off of the elevator. It's kind of catty-cornered right now. So that would be a bit of a physical challenge if you wanted to do that.
Okay, I think I want that rock hopper with me in the elevator, so I'm gonna push it in.
Possible. All right. Do you want to do this by yourself or recruit somebody else to gain advantage?
I need help with this thing. What do you call this? A machine.
A rock hopper. Is it something we could theoretically drive or move mechanically?
As the rest of you are getting your first look at this thing again at this point, no, this thing has been totally stripped for parts.
Uh,
It looks like everything from the control systems to most of the engines themselves have been removed from this, possibly to repair whatever shuttle was used to extricate the last of the crew when the station was abandoned.
Hmm. Well, who wants to help me push the thing in one direction?
I was probably closest to you, so I am more than happy to assist.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Then give me a strength roll plus whatever applicable skill you might have and take advantage on it. So roll 2d100s and keep the lowest number.
Gotcha. Would my rim wise apply? Because
You know,
growing up in the back streets of space Chicago, you had to, be quick on your feet, but also know how to throw a punch, develop some muscle,
might have pushed a few vehicles around in your day. Okay. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Let's roll. Woo! Yes!
Excellent.
Save my behind with that assist there.
I am happy to help.
All right. Well, with a gross screeching and scrunching of metal on metal, you two manage to shift it back onto the elevator, and then with zero further problems, make your way down.
In the fiction, Covet was like just putting in all the weight, 2 hands, 2 legs, full push, and then it wouldn't budge, and then Overt comes with just like a single, basically a little shove, and it moves
I just
forward.
lean on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You loosened it. You loosened it. You promise.
Yeah. That was all. That was all you, Boo. You did so good.
Covet goes like, yeah, but thank you for acknowledging that. I like you. All right.
Not so bad yourself.
Elevator going down. Who's coming with me?
Happy to join.
I always love an elevator.
Nothing bad's ever happened on an elevator.
Well, I can think of several bad things that have happened on elevators.
Yes, me too. As long as it goes down slowly, not up suddenly, I'm sure we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we discussing the things that can go wrong in elevators?
So if we find out they have gone wrong, we get paid for it.
That is fair. That is a very fair point.
I stand defeated. You are a master of debate.
That's it.
Quite logical of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the elevator descends ever so slowly, because of course it is a vehicle elevator, they're not the fastest things in the world. The hatch above you, where the floor of the elevator used to be, closes up to give the garage a nice even floor surface while the elevator is down. But of course, on this level, the lights don't seem to be working quite so well as on the first level. And so as that door closes up, the world gets a little bit darker. The aged ancient machine crunches to a halt at the floor surface of what appears to be a small machine shop. But in the dim half-light beyond, you can hear what at first you took for just more noise of the elevator. No, there's definitely something whizzing about out in the darkness. Has anybody got a flashlight?
I have infrared goggles.
I do have a flashlight as well. Let's get that on for seeing what's going on.
Okay. As you flip on your flashlight, you catch signs of movement off to the left. Something low to the ground scoots past, hiding in the shadows of other vehicles that are parked in this shop. You found the storage location for most of the small vehicles that allowed the crew to go rock to rock in their previous location. But you've also found something else. Go ahead and let's go ahead and do a fear save for everybody.
I'm so
All
sorry,
right.
everyone.
Something
We're all at disadvantage.
mhm.
Yeah.
So to explain something about Mothership to our audience, the original class that the NHP class is based on is the android, and as we all know in classic 80s sci-fi, androids cannot be trusted. Thus, all fear saves made within a certain distance are at disadvantage. As this something leaps out of the shadows at you, or rolls, we should say.
So we roll 2d100?
Yes, 2d100. Excellent. Okay, so all of our clone players have not succeeded on their fear check.
69, nice!
Nice.
Allow me to proceed with the screaming. Ah!
Go ahead and all of you add to your stress. And let me double check to see if you need to make panic checks at this point. No panic checks yet, but we'll get there, I'm sure.
What the hell's that? I'll do my best to try and lock the torch onto this thing as it's whizzing around.
And of course, Fretful, you immediately recognize this as just another one of the little cleaning bots.
Oh yes, I'm gonna run straight at it and try to pin it down with my knife.
It is not particularly happy, but there's not much it can do against you on that one. It is, in fact, just a little, like a foot by maybe 5 inches tall. Essentially, yes, a space Roomba. But with a happy little face panel on the front to allow you to further personify it and allow it to create a pair of little animated eyes that are now making little crying emojis.
Hello there, creature. Don't be too afraid. Everything's going to be just fine.
Chirps happily at you, but does spin its wheels along the ground. You can see that it's probably been operating in this area for quite some time because the garage, while it does have a couple of oil stains here and there, is otherwise immaculate. Not the same could be said for the robot itself. While it's amazing at cleaning surfaces around it, it doesn't really seem to have any fixtures for cleaning itself, so it's a little bit dirty and smudged and dusty. But otherwise seems fully operational.
Are there any rags around?
Yeah, you could certainly find one. There are a number of lockers and a few more locations for spacesuits next to an airlock door that looks like it leads to that central spine of the station.
Okay.
I'm sure you could find something that would do as a rag on this level.
When I realize the robot is just a tiny little future Roomba, I am just gonna dust him off. I got guilt.
Okay.
Okay, little buddy.
Makes another happy noise at you. Appreciative of your cleaning of its chassis.
Can you tell us what happened here? I see. Say no more.
Do I have any way to interface with it?
Sure, if you'd like to. I'm not even going to make you roll a check for this one. It's easy enough for you to actually interface with this, and you go through and see that there are several hundred years of cleaning logs on this thing, where it has basically tracked its movements all across this particular floor pretty thoroughly for a while. But it doesn't have any more complex records of what might have been going on here. There is a curious blank in its memory space, however, that if you want to try and uncover more about it, maybe roll something about it.
Yeah, I've got computers and hacking.
I'd like to help.
Okay. How would you like to help?
With my industrial equipment, and interpreting that skill applied right now to have it stay calm while Fretful is digging around in its memory core.
Okay. Let's see. What level of skill is industrial equipment?
It's a trained skill, first one.
It's trained skill. Okay. So let's go ahead and instead of giving you advantage on this one, go ahead and play it as if you also had the industrial equipment skill. So this is going to be intelligence plus both computers and industrial equipment.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey!
Success.
Okay. Excellent. So you can see that it looks like this area of its memory space has been intentionally erased by the robot itself, weirdly enough. Normally, these things don't have enough of a control over, like, what they do to do such a thing, but you could think of several circumstances as to why it might have done that. Perhaps it was running out of memory space, or it felt it was running out of memory space, and it just got rid of the largest file there. But it does seem odd to you that this is not the oldest file. This is something from post when you believe the evacuation of this station or the abandonment of this station was. Because you can kind of track the cleaning logs from, okay, it was doing a whole lot of cleaning here, taking a lot of debris up off of the floor and making deposits in the for lack of a better term, garbage chute that it goes to get rid of its loads, to a much lower level of cleaning that just appears to be daily maintenance, where you kind of put two and two together and say, yes, this must be after the crew left, because it's no longer a dirty room, it's just dust settling sort of a thing. Then the chunk of missing memory, and then the further hundreds of years of standard cleaning duties that I mentioned before.
Huh.
Is it something I can tell that the robot itself deleted that, or was it an outside force?
Yes, from the logs that you dig up, you can tell that the robot itself deleted it.
Fascinating.
Wish I could do that. I have too many memories I wish I could forget from the space wars. Little Roomba, you and I were kindred spirits.
The brave little robot that carried on its duties even after its job was done.
Covet is saluting it.
He's so good.
Just so you know, whatever happens to our characters, this robot needs to survive.
She'll immediately adopt it as the party mascot.
Yep.
Amazing.
Do you want to travel with us?
It kind of backs up and wiggles negatively, as if to say that it feels like it needs to stay here and continue its duties.
I'll ask again. Are you sure you don't want to travel with us? And Covet is like peering over over his shades, and you can see there's kind of a fire there.
All right, how would you like to convince this robot to come along with you?
Can I roll rimwise on a robot?
I don't feel like this is the kind of intelligence that can be what's the word?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like when you're trying to, you go to like the service bot and you try to do like Yakuza intimidation tactics. Instead, the service bot's going to be like, "How can I help you, sir?"
Right. It's a relatively limited emotional response from this little small clean.
Okay.
I have an idea.
Yes.
I'm gonna drop the rag about 10 feet away.
Okay.
Does it go to pick it up?
Yeah, I think its initial instinct is to pretty much automatically go to clean that spot on the floor. Are you going to remove the rag before it gets there, or are you going to allow it to actually get to the rag?
That depends on how many rags I can find before it gets there. We're gonna Hansel and Gretel this bitch. It'll come with us. Promise.
I'll put it this way then. It reaches that first rag and kind of sucks it up, and then you see a little kind of red light go on the back corner of it, and it starts to kind of whir and whiz its way back to a small port in the wall nearby, apparently heading off to empty its now rag-filled dust bag.
Oh,
Shoot.
that actually gives me a great idea. I would love to investigate like the station's disposal facilities.
So you want to follow it?
Is it big enough for me to follow?
Not so much.
Okay.
This is kind of a 6-inch high, 1 foot wide little slot, sort of in the oh my goodness, I make rooms for a living on sets, and I've completely forgot the running boards, the floorboards. There's the word. I was like, it's the boards that are right next to the floor, folks. What are they? It's a little hatchway in the floorboard that sort of slides aside and allows it to dock in place. It's funny enough, it does leave its faceplate exposed, and you get a little happy animation of like a garbage bag on one side, doing the sort of classic internet explorer mail letter thing, floating away to a like what appears to be a larger pod on the other side as it empties.
Okay.
If this creature doesn't want to leave its assigned room, we could always bring its assigned room with us.
You mean to cut out the dock and take the dock with us?
I mean the room.
Fretful, you're gonna have to do that explanation thing you do so well again.
Ah, you see, while time is like a cookie, right? Remember that one?
Yeah.
The room, it's also like a cookie. And some cookies are bigger than other cookies.
Holy shit. What? Okay. No, I understand. Continue.
Yes, so we just move the cookie.
Please lead the way.
A little loading circle on everybody's face.
Yeah. I think I might take the opportunity while the discussions are going on around the robot just to have a look, see if there's anything else in this room that's of particular note, as I appreciate the too many cooks probably spoil the robot.
Okay, well, there is a relatively sealed area up to the north. It looks like there is an airlockable section of this repair bay, just to maintain atmospheric balance. That leads to that sort of northern elevator that you declined to go down. From the completely vented and voided northern garage. Can't imagine why you wouldn't use that one. But there are a total of 6 other sort of rock hopper vehicles on this level. Surface skimmers, excuse me. I named the wrong kind of vehicle. Think along the lines of a nondescript War in the Stars thing that a certain Loke ground runner might have ridden across a desert planet. Those are the sort of vehicles that we are talking about right here. All brand safe names, of course. If you'd like to do a cursory inspection of the vehicle, see if maybe they need a little bit of work, go ahead and roll me something about it.
Yeah.
And we'll also, while you're doing that, I'll give you a few more details about the room that other people might observe. So the sort of Jeffrey's tube style thing that you came down here was on the western side of the room. It looks like on the eastern side of the room there is another one of exactly the same sort of style, plus a couple more lockers, a couple more locations for spacesuits. So it looks like this place was actually built with some safety standards in mind, unlike a lot of the ships and things that you have encountered in the past. Looks like they were very, very careful about possible depressurizations. What with, every room and level in this being, mere feet away from that void that was the central column. And it looks like you got a success on that. Okay. So, to fill in what your success gets you, the ground runners here, or the surface skimmers, excuse me, do all appear to be in relatively good condition, considering they've been sitting around for a few hundred years. Doesn't look like any parts were taken out of the ones in this main area, but they are all several hundred years out of date and could probably use a sincere inspection by some well-meaning dock workers.
Well, at least these things probably have some value to an antiques collector, but no huge amounts of actual damage, so whatever went on upstairs doesn't seem to have affected these too much. Whoever decided they were stripping the station decided not to progress this far.
Okay. Anybody else want to get up to anything else while we determine how to proceed?
Covet is still asking more questions to Fretful about the cookie thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know how cookies have different flavors.
Yeah, like in a bakery.
Exactly. And the room could be the bakery or it could be the cookie.
Oh my god, this is too much sugar for one moment. Let's focus on the job before you freak my world anymore.
Of course, this is part of the job.
You should be an educator.
I consider myself an educator.
You already were one, of course you were. How could I have been so blind? Anyway, should we look through the rest of the levels?
I believe, yes. We should inspect every room cookie. It is a room, right?
It's a cookie room. A rookie.
Oh.
Am I
Now this changes everything.
Am I learning? Has the Kohai become the sensei?
You are doing so well, young one.
Arigato.
So, as you have that discussion, there is another room on this level, the workshop for the northern dock. The wall panels on the doors to this room are showing a yellow error message, as if the atmosphere in this room seems to be a little bit lower density than is strictly safe, indicating there's probably a bad seal somewhere up into that vented garage upstairs. You could simply write that down as an issue, or you could further investigate to see if there are further problems.
Yeah, no, I'll take a look.
Okay. The airlock doesn't resist being open, or I shouldn't say the airlock. The door into this area doesn't resist being open, but it does flash that warning message again. And there's a slight wind as things sort of stabilize. Let's see.
I get out my spanner just in case I need to whack something or fix something.
Okay. The lights in this room come up as you enter it, some sort of motion detector clearly in action. But it's not too terribly dark in here. And thankfully, despite the tapping and thumping of various mechanical things in the walls, you don't believe that there is anything else in this room with you. However, oh, you did put your spacesuit back on, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Okay. Then,
Ha!
yes, well, you got to catch me somewhere, right? No, the atmosphere does equalize in here relatively quickly. That's what the wind was about back at the doorway.
Mhm.
There is another surface skimmer in here. This one looking like it's in pretty bad disrepair. Looking at it just at a surface level, you can see that it looks like it ran into something pretty much head on at some point, just before the station was abandoned. And there's pretty significant damage to it. If you'd like to figure out a little bit more, you'll have to roll something about it.
Yeah, I would love to examine the impact points a bit more.
Okay.
It might also assist with some sort of intelligence-based check.
Okay. If you wander over, yes, absolutely. You can also make the roll for it. Unless you want to strictly assist with it.
Well, that stress is starting to creep up now. It's like,
Yeah.
So could I argue this is also industrial equipment?
Yes, this is very much industrial equipment.
Getting so
These
much
these are
mileage.
the space equivalent of those little electric carts that you see in a lot of old sci-fi.
What are those ice hockey cleaners? Zamboni?
Oh, the Zambonis? Yes,
Zamboni?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
is it
yes.
Space Zamboni? Cool.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so I'm rolling my intellect.
Yes, intellect plus whatever skill you would like to apply.
Oh!
Oh, take another stress as you're working under the watchful eyes of Sir Sebastian, and you're not able to pull anything out, but you've got to say something about this, and oh, Nelly. Yep, there's the problem right there. Ran into something.
So the thing about damage is that it's bad for machines. Did you know this, Doctor?
yes, absolutely, boy. That's exactly the same conclusion I was coming to. Damage. Very bad for machines.
And I didn't even have to go to machine school for that one.
No, well, you do learn to pick these things up. Very, very insightful. Very insightful.
I'm glad we have an understanding. Anyway,
Just nod to each other.
Just very, very proud of themselves. Fretful. Overdops. Did you know machines don't like damage?
Really?
Yeah.
Fascinating. I'm just learning this now.
Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, what is everybody's stress at right now?
5.
5.
Can I give
2.
my answer? Can I give my answer in German?
Sure.
5.
Okay. Excellent. Well, yeah, there seem to be many signs that something went horribly wrong at some point on this station. And yet, the automated systems of the station itself, like the little cleaning robots, seem to be chugging along perfectly nicely. Curious that. But a number of things for the inspection crew to deal with, a number of things for the repair crew to deal with, so as far as the day's job is going, that's kind of going well, actually. Would you like to descend to the next level?
Absolutely.
Yeah, why not?
Things can only continue to go well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our clipboard's looking pretty good. We're gonna get paid a lot for this.
I'm having a great time. We've met several new friends.
Several.
Yes.
Covet just kind of stares off and goes like, "All right, lets it slide."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as you descend to the next level, you do notice that Geiger counter is starting to tick up a little bit more. You're still not in the danger zone, but it is certainly alerting you to the fact that there is more than the expected amount of background radiation in this area.
Assume we'll get some sort of level of warning before the clone's going to keel over.
Oh, yes, absolutely. As you are descending to this level, however, who went first?
I'll go first.
You'll go first? Okay.
Yeah, I got the military training. I got the knife.
Sure.
And the tank top.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. You do have the knife, don't you?
I
Okay.
do.
Well then, this is going to be interesting then. Because as you climb, one of the rungs under the weight of you and your spacesuit does manage to collapse with a clank and a crash. You hear it fully descend to probably the bottom of the ladder shaft. So if I could get a
Whoops.
speed check to try and catch yourself before you go tumbling with it.
Sure thing. Just adjust the number. There we go. Aha!
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay,
Ooh.
Shit's paying off.
good. You managed to succeed and avoid a possible bit of danger that might have come about from you carrying a knife whilst descending a ladder.
Uh-huh. I'm good. I got
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, you didn't
Safety
puncture your
first.
spacesuit. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so with that gap surmounted, you all managed to descend to the next level of the station. This being the large machine shop. And here you can see that this is where the vast majority of the actual heavy labor of repairing the various vehicles would have been done. As you emerge into a fully open, circular level of the station. And your flashlight again comes out because, well,
Yep.
seems power is not doing great here either. Onto the hulking remains of what appears to be a small shuttle, as well as the scattered bits of detritus of several engines, other components for said shuttle. Unfortunately, this level appears to be much dirtier than the one up above. As you look around in the darkness, you see oil stains all over, broken bits of mechanical equipment, tipped over toolboxes. The lockers here seem to have been hastily cleaned out. And there's another small clean that is just sort of dejectedly sitting on top of an oil stain, going around in circles, unable to absorb enough or scrape up enough of of the oil to make a difference. But that's what you can see from where you emerge onto the level anyway.
Maybe this one can tell us a little more about what's going on.
Curious to see if it's missing the same amount of data as the other one.
Ahoy there, robot! Yes, ahoo-ha-hee-hoo to you too. I have a question for you.
It scoots over, happy to be brought away from its endless toil on top of this really just atrociously bad oil stain. Fretful, are you going to perform the same maneuver as before, or do we want to try to go about this in a different way?
Yeah, let's get in there.
Okay. If you could go ahead and give me another intellect computers check, that would be delightful.
Okay.
Yeah!
Success.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah, you understand your way around the inside of these things at this point.
It's just
you
a
can
small
see,
little creature.
yeah. You can see that this one has a long list of error messages on board its computer. It looks like the sort of port that it uses to connect to the waste disposal system was grind and greased up long ago, so it has been unable to actually offload any of the oil that it has been trying to clean up, essentially leading to an endless loop of it trying to get rid of the oil and it trying to clean the oil that it just got rid of. But more importantly, yes, it does also show logs missing at around the same time period. as if it had itself gotten rid of the same amount of data.
This one
Let's
forgot as
see.
well.
Yeah, this was a pretty close success, so I can't give you any additional information that you might have gleaned, unfortunately. But yeah,
Could we somehow restore those deleted memories?
I assume they'd be stored in the computer, I assume there's a mainframe, something like that.
Can I just press Control Z in the robot's brain?
unfortunately, due to the time period since those memories were erased, they have long been written over.
You have to hold it for a couple hundred years.
Is there any kind of terminal in this room?
So there's not any direct terminals in this room that would connect to the systems, like the station's main systems. There are some individual repair terminals at the various bays around the area, but you are fairly certain that they would be just attached to those bays. However, somebody give me some sort of intellect check. Wow, we are really relying on the intellect checks on this one, aren't we?
I know, I'm loving
Unfortunately.
it. I'm loving it. Not loving it.
Fretful Toy, if you'd like to make this one, I'll give it to you at advantage.
Okay, just
Or-
intellect.
Yeah, just intellect. If you can think of something like industrial equipment or something like that that might be about the layout of the station, that might assist here.
I have mathematics. Can I notice a weird pattern?
I don't think that one applies here.
Okay.
I am giving you advantage for a circumstantial thing that I will explain after if you are successful.
Okay.
Okay, there we are. So you realize fairly quickly that the robot must be talking to the station's main network in some way, shape, or form. And so, kind of getting down on your knees, you flip the little hatch back from the port where it's supposed to get rid of stuff, and find a connection port at the back of it, where it would normally link up with the mainframe. It's a close enough connector type that you feel confident you could probably kludge something together and connect relatively quickly, even if it's just essentially pulling back a layer of the synth skin on your own drone unit and forcing a connection in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I can kind of just jam my fingers in, probably.
Yeah, it's fine. Nothing can go wrong from that, right?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, I do think that since this is not a place that you're supposed to be, this is going to require a hacking check.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
what sort of information are you trying to go for as you write out that equation for me?
I would love to get station logs. See if there's any station logs for the time period where the robots have deleted memory.
That's a good one. Okay, cool beans. Let's see if you can find them.
Hopefully.
Excellent.
Okay, yeah.
Undefeated.
So, yeah, pretty much. Sifting through the logs again, you're basically having to sort of automatically filter out the most recent several hundred years of logs because nothing much has been happening. But as you go sifting through stuff, you can see that it was about 6 months before the period that both of these smaller cleaning robots have their internal logs deleted from. That's when the rest of the network lost connection to the NHP. This is
Okay.
pretty curious because, again, that is actually after the last crew log in the central network.
Well, that makes perfect sense. I
Okay.
certainly wouldn't want to sit in a station with no friends around.
Hmm.
It probably just left.
Hmm. That
To
makes
fill in
sense.
a little bit more, it does look like shortly before that time period, just because you rolled an absolutely amazing 2 under a target number of 67. Um, it looks like all of the station's small clean robots gathered on the let me double check the level real quick, on the canteen slash recreation level, shortly before the period that has been erased. There aren't any more clear logs about why they might have done this. It's just location data for all of the robots.
The robots went to the cafeteria.
Well, that must be where they held BotCon.
It's a real doozy of a convention. Nobody wanted to remember it.
Perhaps that might be our next port of call then.
Hmm.
I
Is,
agree.
Do we even have a map of this place?
Yes, you have the standardized map, and so far everything has sort of lined up more or less. Maybe a door's been 5 feet to the left for whatever reason on this one, but the actual levels have worked out rather nicely. So currently you are in the large machine shop. The next level below you would be the ore processing level. And below that would be the canteen and recreation.
Hmm.
So,
I
do you want
think this is where we should split up. One team to go investigate the rest of the levels, and another one to investigate so-called BotCon.
Sounds like a sensible idea. We'll speed up if we're cutting through. I haven't seen anything that particularly means there's too much danger here. Just a abandoned station that's everything's been stripped of. If there was something dangerous here, it would have eaten the robots, surely.
Yeah, so far the worst thing we've seen is a small robot no larger than the size of my shoe.
Yep.
Okay. Well, with that confidence, earned or otherwise, I think here would be a great place for us to take a short break. We are about halfway through our session at this point.
Mhm.
Things seem to be going well. Let's see how they continue on the other side of the break, shall we?
Nothing go wrong. Nothing go wrong.
All right.
Right.
Love it.
Where everybody go and take a stretch, rehydrate, and we'll see you all, buddy people, in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. All right, party people, we're back. Hope everybody's had an opportunity to stretch, to shake out those nerves because things are tense. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How are we all feeling about the survivability of our characters so far?
Nothing to worry about.
It'll be fine, fine. What's the worst that
Completely
could happen?
pristine.
Well, I look forward to seeing this group of ragtag synthetic beings survive and go unarmed, and I will pass it back to you.
Okay. Dipping back into Felicity Station and its creepy banging soundtrack in the background. Our groups decided to split up after our last exploration. One going to ore processing, the other going to the canteen slash recreation level. So who is going to go where?
I definitely want to go to the canteen.
I think I'm happy to go to ore processing. Dealing with small droids isn't really my cup of char.
I'll accompany the good doctor.
Cool. I guess it's you and me. Fretful.
Yes. Last time I did this, we found some fascinating things.
Mm-hmm.
Just, yeah.
Just no danger. All fine. It's all good.
We shall
I
have
feel-
fun. Look, sorry.
I feel safe.
I'm sure we shall have a riveting time staring at some rocks. It'll be absolutely fine.
Did you know that some rocks are edible if you crunch hard enough? Just a little bit of things I picked up in the street life.
Did you know that some rocks are people?
My God, you are freaking my bean again! Sorry, but I must take my leave before the knowledge you give me is too much. I have to go.
Remember, bone sticks to your tongue. And,
Look for
Stop giving me things to learn! Ah! And I run off.
This is new information for Fretful, and it definitely licks its knife because it's a bone knife.
Amazing. It does,
it
in
was the
fact,
truth.
stick to your tongue. That is a tried and true way that archaeologists know the difference between a rock and a fossil.
Best of luck on your explorations, you two. Drop us a ping every 5 minutes just to make sure that you're okay.
Will do, and I'll
Okay.
set up however that works on my little thing.
Yeah, sure.
Future clipboard.
You got a little timer in your heads-up display in the spacesuit. It's all good. Okay, so I'm assuming you both descend on this through the same Jeffries tube, or does somebody want to go through the one on the opposite side of the station?
Well, it would be awkward if we said our goodbyes and then went onto the same elevator, so...
Yeah,
Deuces.
that's a very good point.
Ah, damn! I didn't load the elevator music into this game. Otherwise, I absolutely would play it here.
In the event of an accident, death is certain.
So, who wants to go through the eastern one, and who wants to go through the western one?
Let's go east.
All right,
Okay.
east it is.
East it is. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and start out at ore processing. This is going to be, we are all going towards the more interesting parts of the station. For ore processing, you are noting a mild increase in the amount of radiation in the background. Still not in the danger zone, but certainly approaching it now. But as you emerge into the area, you spot some crates in front of you, and as you sort of sweep past the crates, you get a mild spike in radiation, suggesting that perhaps some of the ores that they were mining here were themselves radioactive. Off to your right, there is a door to a storage area where you can hear the slight peep of some sort of an alarm, but beyond the doors, it's not quite easy to make out exactly what type of alarm it is, where it's coming from, if it's a station thing, if it's something else. You just hear that slight, clear, rhythmic peep that everybody in a technological society fully understands is some kind of an alarm. But further off into the room that curves away from you to your left, you can see rows upon rows of workstations for ore processing.
This takes me back. Could I make some sort of asteroid mining check, more for a general giving warning of any sort of potential hazards or things that might be useful around here that, if broken, would be good to report back? So it's a bit of a hazard perception combined with a bit of helping our mission.
Sure. So let's go ahead and, again, this is going to be intellect plus asteroid mining.
Okay. So that's going to be a 57. See what that goes to. Ah!
Excellent. So just looking around at these stations, it looks like the people who bugged out of here did not care necessarily for the actual ore processing equipment. I've already mentioned that there is some slight radiation from the crates nearby, suggesting, again, that the ore itself might be mildly radioactive. But you can also see that there are a number of canisters at each processing station, which look like they contained pressurized material of some sort, whether that's a gas, a liquid. Something could certainly go wrong if that equipment was treated indelicately. And well, judging by the fact that it's been sitting around for a few hundred years, indelicately might be at this point looking at it wrong.
Master Starwind, watch out for those pressurized canisters, the potentially most dangerous things in the room.
Covet takes off his shades and replaces them with an even thicker pair of shades, and then proceeds to look at the canisters with squinted eyes. All right.
Do you actually go to sort of look at the canisters up close, or are you giving them a wide berth?
I think I'm gonna give him a wide berth and instead investigate the little beepy beep.
Okie dokie. Heading through the doors to the north. Let's see if I can. Where did it go? There it is. Somewhere in the depths of what is revealed to be a storage room, you can hear the now familiar peeps of another one of those small clean robots.
Robot, emerge.
You can't hear any sort of movement from it, but with a couple of movements or moments of exploration in and around the rather claustrophobic stacks, you eventually track down the sound of this robot to an area at the outer shell of the station, where it appears to have gotten itself pinned between a storage container and the actual wall itself.
I immediately rush to free it.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a strength check plus any skills that you think might be applicable to this.
Yeah, I mean, this is not handling industrial equipment per se. It's just freeing it.
Yeah.
Rim-wise, also, I mean, because of the strength thing. Pushing vehicles. Am I pushing vehicles? Is this metaphorically?
This is more of a storage container, but I think I could give you rim-wise on this one. I'm sure you've busted over a port or two in your day.
Hosanna! Okay, I will roll.
Well done, my lad. Put you back into it.
Do you actually want to provide any sort of assistance, Sir Sebastian? Or
I am. I'm offering moral support. Oh,
okay.
With my back, can't be doing with bending and pushing like I used to.
Good to know. Okay, so yeah, you managed to pretty quickly shift this thing, this container, and the small clean gives a positive peep as it is now freed of the thing. But as it goes to try and trundle away, you can tell that the falling container did damage one of the wheels that lets it kind of scoot along. So it's making some progress, but rather sluggishly, and you can hear the sound of dragging plastic along the steel floor.
I will. Can I say, for the sake of narrative, that the spacesuit that I'm wearing has like a large, almost like an apron-sized pocket in the front?
I don't know if a pocket is necessarily appropriate, but there is certainly a group of D-rings attached to the front with little clips that you could certainly find like an equipment clip spot on the robot.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, I want to basically bandolier this little Roomba to myself.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And as soon as you're done doing that, the two of you kind of take a moment to better take in the room around you. And as I mentioned before, the sort of areas, the walk paths between crates are sort of labyrinthine. and all of the crates are stacked basically to the ceiling. You know,
I have a question I want to ask you, little bot.
kind of like flicks its little uh, uh, printed screen eyes up to the sort of top surface of its screen, in sort of a, well, go on.
Are you in danger?
Cogitates for a couple of seconds and then gives another positive peep. As it's the cheerful peep. The
Affirmative,
sort of,
yeah.
yeah, the sort of everything seems to be all right sound.
But in the sense of like, it would use that sound as a yes to my question.
It's kind of hard to tell in this case. In the past, it has been used as a yes, but it also was just recently used as a sort of thank you indication when you got
Oh my god.
the crate off of it. So
It's
it
just
could
like
be that
Kupo.
everything is fine. Yeah,
He's saying Kupo. Damn it.
kinda. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Um,
Roombas were not exactly made to communicate complex concepts.
Damn. Okay. Well, I would like to investigate some of the toppled over things in the storage room then. See
Yeah.
Sure.
like why a Roomba has been trapped so
Yeah.
disastrously.
Okay.
It doesn't look like to have been too much to have actually shaken this entire thing, so I'm quite curious what's dislodged this.
Well, in looking at some of the shelving units, you can see that it looks like one of the kind of pylons that the shelf that it was attached to seems to have just rusted through over time. You can see a little bit of liquid drip down from the ceiling. Um, it's not entirely clear because again, everybody is wearing their spacesuits, so it's not like you have a sense of smell to base any sort of analysis on. Then again, one of you has been rather lackadaisically switching out their sunglasses repeatedly, so maybe you've got your helmet open at this point. I don't know. Let me know.
Yeah, I
if
think
that's the
like
case.
the visor part is open specifically to remove sunglasses.
Okay. Are you going to take a whiff of this this fluid that seems to be dripping down from above, or are you just going to sort of
Ooh.
get some on your glove to see what the viscosity and things are like from it?
If
Just
the
to-
GM asks me if I want to smell the stinky, then yes, I'll smell the stinky.
Excellent. Thank you for playing along with me.
Sorry, Tom.
Um,
For that I interrupted you.
No, it's. I was just going to suggest. So Woody will mention that he's brought us a sample collection kit with him, so we can extract this in a relatively safe way before you decide to lick it.
Well, what's the option? Are you going to lick it, or are you going to do this the safe and boring way?
When a GM. Give me a good taste.
Okay. So you run your finger along this sort of stuff. It seems a little thick, but it's probably fine. It's still mostly see-through, and yeah, you do in fact lick it, and it tastes like a very like mineralized, almost tinny water. So if you had to take a guess, this is probably a leak from somewhere in the station's piping that just over the last few hundred years has found its way down through the floor paneling or the ceiling paneling, excuse me, and has just slowly been rusting away this unfortunately placed structure, leading to the collapse of that portion of the arm and the near crushing of this adorable little robot.
I turn to the professor. I've got good news and I've got bad news.
Let's hear it.
The good news is that you should not drink any of the water on the station. Instead, purify it first, so you'll risk getting lead poisoning. The bad news is I've probably given myself lead poisoning.
There, my boy. I'm sure it'll before any major symptoms of insanity come through. It'll be certainly in a few weeks. You'll be well out of that clone by then, I'm sure.
Right, clone. I forgot.
Be safe. Be fine.
Well, let's say, little robot, do you want to go on an adventure? See what we can clean up here? Wonderful.
You two begin to make your way out of the labyrinth of storage containers. You realize that what you initially took for a solid wall on your way in a mild panic, looking for the distressed robot, is actually a massive 20-foot wide by 20-foot tall wall section that can be sort of pulled back. And looking out through the window in it, you can see the thin shimmer of a force field and the exposed space of the central spine of the station.
Oh.
This is, of course, a cargo bay.
I give a firm nod to the professor.
We'll wander over and take a quick look. Would the central spire be? I don't know. It wasn't exposed. It was all sealed, wasn't it? But we don't know what pressure it's at or what the air's like on the other side.
So the central spine is the area that you actually descended into initially.
Yeah.
So it is completely open to space.
Okay. Yep.
Obviously, like the force field being in place, I will just go ahead and give you the physics of this in this universe. You'd be able to tell that this is the type of force field that is meant to keep atmosphere in and be relatively easily permeable to anything that's traveling at a velocity lower than, say, a bullet. So you'd be able to move cargo through it without any sort of issues, but a micrometeorite striking the force field would be dissolved.
Okay.
But that being said, safety precautions are safety precautions, and there's probably a reason why they closed this massive doorway before leaving, because who knows when the power might give out, you know?
Thoughts, Professor?
I'm not sure. And it seems, although the rest of the station, it does look like they left in a rush. It looks almost like they've purposefully not concealed, or it's a safety protocol. Not sure.
We should probably get this little one to Fretful as well, so it can analyze its memory core.
Might be worthwhile. Maybe if it was trapped, it might have escaped the purge that the other things did, unless it was just done on a network sort of system.
Listen, little one, we've met two of your kind before, and you're our lucky one. I feel it. Hoo-ha-hee to you two. Let's go.
So then, moving right along to Overdops and Fretful Toy, your journey down the eastern Jeffries Tube, Johnson Tube, I don't know. Trying to make a brand safe version of that doesn't cross other brand safe lines. Takes you down into the canteen area of the canteen/recreation level. You emerge into an area that appears to have actually been scrubbed pretty clean before the final exit of everybody from this area. That, or uncharacteristically, the miners here actually managed to somehow take care of their eating space.
Nah.
There are a number of tables all around that have sort of green pleather-covered chairs in front of them, plus a whole slew of empty buffet-style, food-serving locations. I'm not sure exactly how to describe those particular pieces of furniture, but you know the ones that have the sort of heating elements that you can put food trays on top of, with the sort of rack on the front side that you can slide a tray down and say, I want some of, dish A and some of dish B, and the sneeze guards and all that sort of fun stuff.
Like a 2-star motel buffet, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of the kind of thing that we're talking about here. And at the back of that area is another doorway that has a bright yellow painted, like stencil painted sign that says kitchen, as well as a couple of other doors that lead off into an area that is labeled as recreation.
Okay.
So where
Does
do we want to head first?
does anything look immediately out of place when we get in here?
Well, other than the overt cleanliness, not really. I will say there is actually a layer of dust on things the more you look at it, which is odd considering how dust-free all of the other levels have been thus far.
Are we certain the crew actually left, or were they simply cleaned?
You know, we didn't really vibe check that robot too hard. It could have been the cause of this. Can I check my Geiger counter?
Yes, absolutely you can. You had previously silenced it just to get the clicking out of your headset. But looking at the Geiger counter, you can see that there is a marked increase in background radiation here. One might even say it's no longer background, it's now in the middle distance, perhaps even. It has not crossed the threshold into the danger zone yet, but every once in a while it's brushing up right against the edge of it.
If I pick up a little bit of dust and bring it closer, does it get louder?
No, it does not.
Okay, not
Do you
radioactive
have,
dust.
I was going to say, do you have a way to further scrutinize the dust in your equipment, or is that beyond your capabilities?
I'm gonna
You
say
could
that
taste
is.
it.
You know, I think I'm good. I'm gonna keep this squarely on my head.
I'll taste it.
Go be my guest.
Alrighty.
Yes.
We didn't establish what the capabilities of your drone body are. Do you have a piece of equipment that might be applicable here, or do you want to make an argument for something that would allow you to otherwise analyze this?
The only equipment that I explicitly have are a gun, infrared goggles, and a mylar blanket.
Okay. Chemical spectralizer is the same thing as eating. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I will allow this to happen since you are the NHP in a drone body. You've got your sensors are complex enough that you could probably figure something out with a good enough roll on it.
Okay.
So,
What am I rolling?
I feel like this is. Yeah, we'll make this an intellect. Do you have any skills that you think you could apply to this?
No.
Okay, well then let's just make it
Yeah,
straight up
definitely
intellect.
not.
No biology, no.
I have
think then-
linguistics. I am tasting it with my tongue.
Yes, have a conversation with your meal. No, unfortunately, I think this is just going to be a straight intellect roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do manage to make a success out of it. So, in looking over this, it is what just appears to be kind of a neutral, sort of mostly carbon compound. If you had to take a guess, it's probably just the same sort of result from dust that might be tracked all over such a station in the middle of a mostly carbon-based asteroid.
So no like skin flakes or anything.
Overtly noticeable, but you can't necessarily rule that out. After all, most humans are in fact carbon-based.
That's true. Mostly.
I guess, would you like to check kitchen or recreation?
Yes, let's check the kitchen.
Okay. Taking the shorter distance, you pop your way into the kitchen and instantly hear kind of an arrhythmic ticking from inside one of the further in little rooms that you could guess is probably the freezer. the lights here flicker quite a bit, unlike the rest of the station, as if this room is drawing more power, or at least attempting to draw more power than the rest of the area. Otherwise, the various, holding stations, tables, stoves, all look relatively clean.
I'm gonna open the freezer.
Just gonna go for it, huh?
Do it if you didn't.
Yep.
Excellent.
We can do it together.
All right. Are we gonna prepare in any way, shape, or form for this? Are we gonna look at any of the local displays? Maybe try to figure something out, or are we just gonna go for it?
Freezers do freezers have displays in the future?
I mean, at the very least, a little temperature display.
I suppose I probably should take a peek at that before just throwing it open. Sure.
Okay. The little display beside this does read as slightly above room temperature, or like what you would consider to be average room temperature, given the ambient readings that your spacesuit is providing you. I'd also suggest that the pressure inside is dramatically high.
Their stick around, preferably like about my height, if not a little taller. Like a pole, I guess, not a stick.
Not really in this room. It looks like most of the cleaning supplies have been put elsewhere, but there is a spatula on a shelf nearby.
I guess that'll do. I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, Fretful, I think we should try to open it from as far a distance as we can, because I think it's gonna pop a little bit.
Oh yes, absolutely.
All right. Me and my spatula.
We finally get to roll a different stat. Go ahead and, since you are using the spatula, give me a speed check at advantage.
All right.
And if you have any applicable skills, you can also add those.
Athletics.
I'll give it to you.
Cool. Yeah. Finally.
Nice. So deftly, you manage to sort of hook this spatula up underneath the latch, and in one motion, sort of yank on it and hop backwards at the same time. And I do think, unfortunately, I am also going to need a body save from you as you take a stress.
Felt that? Okay.
I just to sort of check in with Fretful. Are the sensors on your body? Well, they're sensitive enough to catch what's happening here, but is your sort of consciousness tied to a body enough that the horrendous smell of something having rotted in this broken freezer and gone so bad as to increase the air pressure inside it, are you tied enough to your sensors for that to make you emulate retching?
Yes. Yeah, we'll say yes.
Okay. We won't go into any of the gruesome details, but I am going to ask for a body save on this one as well.
Okay.
And go ahead and take a stress.
It was a success for me, but barely.
I see that.
Not a success for me.
Okay. So, as this sort of alien sensation to you sort of grips your body, I would like you to make a panic check for me.
Okay. That's D20, right?
It's a D20, and you're trying to roll over your current stress. Okay.
Done it. Yeah, we did.
Excellent. So, shaken but not stirred. we were all thinking it. I had, yep. You do, in fact, sort of take that mental step back of like, I don't eat, or at least I don't eat in the same way. This is just a bad smell, and you're able to calm what would be your stomach if you were not in a drone currently. And doing a little bit more investigation, you all look inside, and in fact, yes, the interior of this freezer is absolutely destroyed by mold and just the remnants of rotten something that got mistakenly left behind when the crew disappeared. Who's to say?
Any bones?
I do think that there is something in there that might be a bone. It's you'll have to clean the glop off of it first. But
I'll hand you
Yo.
the spatula.
Yo, we got glop and bones? Hell yeah.
Oh. We went the wrong way. They found all the good loot.
Well, I got a treat. I got breakfast.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna kind of dig through the slop and try to find any remnants of like human remains, especially anything like that.
okay. So as you dig through the slop and the slough that has sort of festered within this unfrozen freezer for quite some time, it is a bone, or at least the remnants of a bone. Doesn't appear to have been human. Definitely synthetic in some way, shape, or form. You can see the 3D printing lines on it. So it seems like somebody wanted to have some representation of an animal bone, but used one of the kitchen printers to give themselves the illusion of eating something that was once real. It is, of course, made of the same materials that a bone would be made out of naturally, but it was unnaturally produced, which isn't
Okay.
terribly uncommon. What with technology being what it is.
Well, it's not human, so I don't prefer it, but I will be keeping this to make another knife.
Okay.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. All right. Anything else in the kitchen?
Yep.
To check out?
Not in particular. It looks like the rest of the space was cleaned up relatively well. There may be a couple of spots of black mold where, another small leak has sprung from a faucet, or maybe something wasn't turned off entirely. But it's all in relatively good repair. Certainly in need of cleaning. Obviously, somewhere this dusty, you wouldn't want to do any cooking in here immediately. But that's a problem for another crew later.
Fretful, are you done with the freezer?
I believe so. I would like to find this room's cleaning robot.
Oh, that's true. I'm gonna quickly shut the freezer and I help you look around.
Okay. Looking around, you don't see any of the slots you've come to expect from the cleaning robots in this area. But out in the sort of canteen zone, you do find one. However, the slot is empty.
Is there any kind of recall button on it?
It's a good question. There would be a panel just above it, and yeah, I think there would be a recall button there.
Does
So
anything happen
if you push it?
beep beep boop boop? Oh, is that offensive, Fretful? I'm sorry. I'll just hit the button without the sound effects.
Wow.
I apologize.
So you push the button, and it's a small touchscreen, but you do get a little confirmation peep, and the button inverts its color to show that it has, in fact, sent out the recall order. For a couple of seconds, you don't feel like anything has happened, but then from down one of the hallways that leads to the recreation area, you do hear a banging, as if something is running into a door somewhere. making an impact, kind of trying to get past a barrier, essentially, but failing miserably.
I think we found your robot.
The poor creature is stuck.
Allow us to go liberate it.
Alrighty. So heading over into the recreation area, you find a sort of open floor plan combination of workout room and sort of gathering space. There's even a card table off in one corner, just sort of shoved into the corner in a kind of darkened area. But the noise is actually coming from the door to something that's marked as a janitorial closet. However, upon pushing the button to open said door, it returns an error message that says, what was it? Maintenance level lockout.
Well, I can probably clear that.
Go on.
All right. Go ahead and intellect, and I'm going to say hacking in this case.
That sounds right. I can't lose.
She don't
Has
miss.
to break sometime.
So yeah, we're just gonna disable that lockout.
Okay. As you disable that lockout, the door swishes open, and you see this delightful fellow.
Oh my god.
It is about twice the size of the other small clean robots. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, that is in fact the brand name that I have come up for them. However, the upper portion that is sort of supported by a mechanical hose and giving the illusion of an upper torso, while it does use standard cleaning components, looks to have been added at a later date, as if this was not part of the original design. They've done their best to sort of bring it into style with the rest of the actual main robot base, but you can see a couple of bad welds here and there. Looks like perhaps the previous crew has made some improvements. Kind of blinks with those computer-generated eyes on the display screen of the head and says, "Hi there, I'm Small Clean Plus. You can call me Plus. Thanks for opening the door for me."
Hello, Plus. Did you go to BotCon?
I'm unsure of what you're talking about. What is BotCon?
Well, there was a gathering of cleaning robots here some 100 years ago.
Oh, yes. I was, in fact, the main guest at BotCon, and you can almost hear the quotation marks around the term that it has taken on, that you've given it. The rest of the cleaning staff felt that it would be a good joke to lock me in the janitorial closet. I'll have to give them my best regards.
Oh, that is terribly mean of them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed any parasites?
I assure you there are no parasites present on Felicity Station. We do a good job cleaning up things around here.
That is reassuring.
Do you remember what happened here?
Agitates for a couple of seconds, trying to work through, what the question is and what the actual meaning behind the question is. It's well within the expectations for something like this. You've all seen what are referred to as comp cons. They are not full intelligences, but good enough to fake it, as it were. If by what happened around here you mean where the crew went, Felicity Station was decommissioned in insert year here and since then has been awaiting purchase by a new corporation. The cleaning staff, and myself included, were tasked with maintaining the station until a new crew would arrive.
When that happened, was Felicity Station still operational?
Felicity Station was still operational when crews left us. However, there has been some damage to the station in the time since then. According to my connection to the central mainframe, it appears that our docking station is currently out of order. We apologize for any inconvenience.
Have you talked to my friend recently?
Who is your friend?
The station NHP.
There's a slight glitch out on its display face. Unfortunately, connection to the station NHP is not online at this time. It appears there's some sort of connection error. You see kind of a processing symbol on its face for a couple of seconds. It appears there is a current radiation leak at the core level of the station due to the inability to scrub previous to your arrival. I would advise you do not go below the crew quarters level. It appears the NHP core level is currently highly irradiated.
That does make so much sense. That makes so much sense. That's too much sense, actually. Are you missing any memories?
I remember everything.
Could you give me logs for the time period that the other bots are missing?
What time period would that be?
I would remember that, right?
Yes, you'd be able to give it that information.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, do you connect directly to Plus, or do you just like wait for like a wireless data packet sort of a thing?
We're going wireless.
Okay. It sends you a log that sort of shows kind of a concerted effort to clean the kitchen area. And that might explain why the kitchen and the dining area of the canteen is, other than the dust anyway, so spectacularly clean and outside of expectations. Followed by the entire crew crew of cleaning bots coming into here and doing a similar job in here before Plus gets locked in the closet.
Plus,
Yes.
what did you clean?
We cleaned the canteen as well as the recreation area.
And
It was
what was in the canteen?
The remnants of 400 years of operational food usage. The local crew was, as expected of humans, less than perfect in their cleaning of the kitchen area.
Oh,
Thankfully,
yes, I know how that goes.
the station is not home to any sort of parasites or other pests. Otherwise, the job might have been significantly more difficult. Ha, ha, ha.
Can you tell us if there's anything that shouldn't be here besides us?
You see that same kind of loading wheel on its face. According to ship's security systems, it does not appear so. However, due to the ongoing radiation issues, I must again warn you that you may be in danger.
Got it. Copy.
Plus,
Oh, go ahead.
how do you feel about mold colonies?
Mold colonies are a problem to be overcome.
You know, I do agree, and yet we can learn something from them, but that's another discussion. I would investigate the freezer if I were you.
Duly noted. Thank you kindly, and I hope to see you again soon. And it kind of goes to trundle off and down the hallway towards the kitchen area.
A+. Well, that was somehow helpful and unhelpful.
Yes. Well, at least we know they didn't clean up the crew. Unless it's
This is true.
lying.
I don't know that it has the capacity to lie.
If you would like to
hope
check
not.
the logs a little more in depth, you might be able to roll intellect plus computers.
That sounds like a good idea. That's a success.
Woo!
So, because of the method of transmission, it's hard to tell much about the logs other than what you can actually see in front of you. But what you can tell is that the creation date of the logs seems to be today's date. Now, that could easily be because, well, you just got the file today. Or it could be something more nefarious.
That is very suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess onward and outward. Recreation room.
Okay. The recreation
I'm
room
beginning to
has.
suspect that Plus was locked in that closet for, perhaps not just a prank.
I suspect the same, but I don't have a way to prove it.
We could always kill Plus.
We could, but I think you have him sufficiently distracted for the moment.
Yes, that freezer was disgusting.
Yeah.
About this time, you start to hear a bit of a creak and clatter from a nearby doorway. And while it spikes some adrenaline, or the digital equivalent thereof, briefly, you quickly realize that this is the door to the access tube on this side of the station. And you are joined by Sir Sebastian Woolley and Covet Starwind.
Hey, friends.
You made a new kind of creature.
Very exciting. So did we.
Look,
Joan.
it's my little son, boy. And Covets proudly shows the little bandoliered Roomba tied to his chest.
I love him.
I was thinking, maybe you could tap into its memories, Fretful, but I would love to hear more about this creature you've encountered.
Well, it's called Plus, and it has arms, and it lied to me.
That's not very nice.
It certainly isn't. I think we should kill it.
Well, that's not... Hold on a moment. Let's not resort to violence just yet. I'll take a look at it, see if I cannot defuse the situation. What if I could make it say sorry?
Well, I suppose if it says sorry, but if it's lying about the logs, it might be lying about the parasites too, and we can't take those chances.
You're right, we can't. There's like a dark, even though he's wearing very dark shades, there's like a dark shade passing over Covet's face.
Mm-hmm. We could go check on him, see if he went to do what he said he would.
Do you want to investigate this robot, or do you want to chase him?
I think we should kill Plus.
What do you think, little robot?
It, having heard you mentioned plus, has a new expression on its face. One of sort of worry. It hasn't made another noise yet, but it is kind of uniquely interesting to see this sort of Tamagotchi-esque, worried expression on this small little cleaning robot's forward screen.
Little digitized sweat drop running down speed
Yeah,
hearing.
kind of like the furtive diagonal lines intersecting the oval eye circle things.
Well, instead of killing him, because while he did lie, and that is a terrible, awful thing to do, he kept telling us specifically not to go down. When
So we should
someone's
kill him
lying,
and then go down.
Did they make any reference to the mainframe or?
he told us that the NHP core was the source of the radiation leak.
Make it. Wouldn't that make the station uninhabitable for any crew?
It's certainly billable damage.
Perfect.
Sir Sebastian, you had asteroid mining, correct?
I did. Can I see if there's a falsehood in that particular assessment, perhaps?
I'm actually going to give this one to you,
Okay.
just because you actually have the skill. You would know that while the reactor is below the NHP core, it shouldn't, even if there was a massive reactor leak, because of how NHP caskets work, and actually now that I'm talking my way through this, Fretful, you would also understand this. Because of the way that caskets work and the paracausal nature of them, even with a major radiation leak, it shouldn't do anything to sever the NHP's ability to interact with the rest of the station. So you can't quite put your finger on it. You don't know what it means, but something isn't lining up at this point.
Perhaps speed and maybe have a look at see what the NHP. I mean, obviously the way to the core is potentially radioactive, as we've discovered, but maybe if we get closer, we might be able to observe something, maybe some willful act of sabotage, or...
I think we should.
Okay. So, yes, let's go ahead and we'll call this a speed check from everyone. Just because speed feels like the most appropriate thing for something stealthy, because I'm assuming y'all are going to try to quickly and quietly get down to the level without plus realizing what you're doing. Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like you were describing.
Yeah.
That would be the goal.
That sounds right, yeah.
Okay.
Could I potentially apply athletics?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Can I apply my rim wise? Street rat antics. Got
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yes, getting so much mileage out of this.
Can I apply my archaeology? Because I've not got any mileage out of that yet. Noisy, or stumpy, posh, fashionable space boots.
Okay. So, out of curiosity, where in the order of operations was Sir Sebastian?
I suspect relatively. Actually, let's probably go near the back, I think, because he is probably like the slowest walker. He's definitely got a sort of window shopping amble about himself when he's looking around for various things. So he's probably at the back, I suspect.
Okay. Great. That actually justifies what's about to happen rather nicely. So, Sir Sebastian, you've been an asteroid miner before. You have been in these sorts of situations, so you know that the gravity in these stations is not always perfectly maintained. Sometimes when you're going between levels, there'll be a slight skip where there's microgravity or extreme gravity for just a brief moment. So you're carefully making your way down this ladder to the next level. The rest of you, however, aren't quite so careful, and it starts with the fact that you're in this kind of confined, enclosed space with the creaking of the station all around you, and you've gotten used to the fact that you can just kind of keep going straight down. This has been one continuous ladder from the top all the way to where you're at right now. So you figure, okay, well, the crew quarters are the next level down, and then the NHP core is after that. So I can probably just slide, right? And so who's in front and feels like they have gotten a little bit brave about just trying to skip past this level?
I'll take front, as I
Okay.
usually do.
Okay, fair enough. So you kind of grip the outer handles of the ladder and go sliding, but you have that uncomfortable impact where you expected to go down, let's say, 3 stairs, and discovered that the next landing was only 1 step down, where you expect it to keep falling, and you hit solid ground instead. And the other 2 that were behind you are unfortunately coming down too fast before you can recover from this instant. And let me double check, because I'd like to give y'all a little bit of damage. Let's see. We'll do something simple. We'll just do a 1d4. How about that? As 3 of you pile on top of each other in an unfortunate instance. Okay, yeah, it's not that bad. It's just one to each of you. Could have been significantly worse. That being said, for Mothership, for those of you who do not know in our audience, operates on a wound system. So the HP is significantly lower than some other role-playing games that I could think about. So this is a bit bone-crunching, but hopefully that didn't send anybody fully into a wound, did it? I don't think it did.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Okay. Certainly uncomfortable then. You'll have a few bruises tomorrow, but it's more embarrassing than anything.
You all okay?
Yes, the soldier broke our fall. Very thoughtful.
You're welcome. All right. Are we where we're meant to be?
No, in fact, you have found yourselves on the crew quarters. And I will go ahead and give this to you, Sir Sebastian. You are fully aware that often in these sorts of situations, or these sorts of stations, the actual access to the NHP core was sort of tucked away and hidden in the either the foreman or the captain or whatever random title the leader of the station's quarters are, specifically to keep people from going in there and messing around with the containment of such a powerful mind and entity.
I shall relay this to the rest of the crew. Party, sorry.
And are you going to lead them there or just kind of point them in the right direction?
Well, I'm confident that they're all presumably limping and a little bit winded. All right. Follow me, everyone. I suspect it's this way, and we'll do some sort of bit of arm waving and stomping off.
Okay.
Hey.
And again, as you sort of move through this level, being a little more direct in your explorations than previous because of your new suspicions, you do still notice that this level is dustier than some of the higher areas. But you are easily able to make it into the former quarters of the leader of this particular mining crew, and find tucked in a sub-closet at the back of their private restroom, as one of the perks of being a leader of such an outfit, the hatchway that leads down into the NHP level. As you are heading down this direction, your Geiger counters are spiking rather badly throughout the crew quarters, pushing into the danger zone. You start sweating a little bit, start doing that mental math and the gymnastics of, okay, I am currently a clone. I don't have to panic about this, but I am going to give all of you one stress. Just the mental math of how long can I live in hard radiation? Even if this isn't your actual body, still not fun to think about. But curiously, as you begin to hear the sort of sounds of what you expect is probably the actual materials and machines that keep the NHP running, you pass down through the area into the NHP core, and suddenly your Geiger counters go silent, as if there's no radiation at all.
What do we see?
So, you emerge into what is a control room of sorts. There are a number of terminals here. Fretful, you would recognize this as the sort of maintenance terminals for a full-size NHP casket. They're basically there to check coolant levels, make sure all the power is moving correctly, all of these sorts of things. Unfortunately, all of these terminals appear to have been smashed. Through the window into the actual NHP chamber, you see the massive spherical, in this case anyway, and somewhat non-Euclidean looking casket that the NHP is meant to be contained within, floating above a variety of terminals and connections and sort of server stacks that are meant to help it govern not only the things going on this asteroid, but probably asteroids all around the belt in which it was originally stationed. Help organize traffic, schedules, deliveries, all of these sorts of things. Essentially operating as the central planning committee of a small community.
Does
something
it
is
look like the connections to those server stacks and everything have been severed at all?
from where you're standing, it doesn't look like they've been severed, but there is definitely some sort of modification that has happened here. There's something that's been added, but you can't see what it is from this distance. As you move to go and enter the main area, however, you trip over something. And it is the remains of another small clean.
Oh.
No.
Robot don't look.
Looks like willful sabotage. I assume also covered in dust, so this was done a long time ago.
Oh yes. Oh, this is a long time ago.
Is that SP be floating there in disconnect for potentially a century?
Potentially longer. Actually, no, you would know. Because the NHP was in disconnect about 6 months before that blank memory spot in most of the small cleans.
Yeah.
Should we hook it back on?
Oh, if my friend is still there, we should absolutely get it back connected to the station.
Okay. So, as you head into the actual room that the casket is inside of, I don't want to call it a display, but the containment unit, the casket for the NHP, sort of swirls as you enter. but it's sort of slow and lethargic. It's showing signs that it understands that you're there, but something is definitely wrong here. There is a
Hello,
terminal.
friend.
Yeah, there is a terminal actually attached to the front of the casket. Would you like to interact with that first, or actually like take a look at the connections that were modified?
I'm getting all up in that terminal.
Okay.
I'd make her stand back and just have a keep. Well, obviously everyone's attention's focused on this device. I certainly want to be trying to focus on just what's going on in the rest of the room, so nothing gets lost.
Okay. So, are you going to connect directly to the NHP, or are you going to use the terminal to communicate with it?
If I have the equipment to connect directly, we're gonna do that.
Sure. As soon as you do, I need you to make a sanity save.
Okay.
And if I feel like I'm picking up the pace a little bit, it's just because I've got my eye on the time. So,
Sanity is definitely my strong point.
uh,
Oh.
so take another stress.
All right.
As you pierce through sort of the outer protective layer and sort of sync up your consciousness with this NHP, you won't be able to sync up 100% perfectly because you can feel that something is siphoning its processing power. While you expect this thing's mind to be racing far ahead of what any organic mind could do, ever in all of its existence, even if all of its perceptions were compacted into the span of a mere microsecond, this almost feels like it's operating on punch cards. It's so painfully slow. The only
Something
words
hurt my friend.
the only words that you can sort of make out are in the amount of time that you take before you can respond to your friends are please help. It took my mind. And I'm hoping that actually came over because I was watching my Discord speech ring only partially flagged there.
We need to help my friend. Something took its mind.
Was it the creature you found? Ask it if it was this plus thing.
Did Plus hurt you?
When you mention the name Plus, the small clean that you're carrying with you again makes that sort of worried expression. And as the NHP sort of answers this in the affirmative, I believe it was Sir Sebastian, you were kind of looking at the relays, yes?
Yeah, I was sort of keeping an eye on the rest of the room while everyone's focus was on the center.
Okay, cool. Looking at these things, you can see that these are similar to sort of a wireless hookup that seems to be sort of glommed onto the central NHP's connection to the servers. And while you don't have the full understanding, putting two and two together, these are siphons of some sort, more than likely, because this looks like the kind of wireless router that you would use to broadcast information from one location to another.
Be a case of following the wireless, we'll say, gesturing to the going to the rest of the party. I don't know.
now-
Dismantle
it.
might be a good idea. I don't know the ramifications of such a action, though.
As you all are... Oh, go for it.
Sorry. I was going to say, these aren't our bodies. We break it, we die. Not the worst case.
I was thinking more for the NHP myself. Feedback, something like that. I don't know if we need to be careful.
I'm sure it can handle any amount of extra processing power it may regain.
I shall bow to your judgment.
Let's
I
break some
wouldn't
shit.
suggest you do that. You hear Plus's voice as kind of the hiss of what I can only describe as a sanitization dumbwaiter opens nearby. If you do that, there's no way I can let you leave. I'll have to remake all of this for myself once again.
Plus, I'm going to kill you now.
You're welcome to try.
Oh shit, square up.
Ooh.
So you are at a reasonable distance. We're not quite out of we're in the same room, and here's where we get into some of the more interesting parts of combat here. We're going to do this as a very quick narrative thing, just because we are short on time. Did you have any weapons on you?
I have
Yes.
a smart rifle.
You have a smart rifle. Excellent.
I have a rigging gun.
Okay.
I have a vibe shetty.
I have a knife.
You have a knife. So those of you with rifles or guns of some sort, I am going to go ahead and give you an initiative on this, just because you have ranged attacks. So let's go ahead and make some attacks against Plus. Where was the combat rules? So go ahead and make a combat check, both of you.
That, what kind of check is that?
So you have a combat stat. You are going to be checking against that stat, plus any skills that you might find applicable for this situation.
Would mathematics apply for aiming?
Because you're a drone, I think I'm going to allow it, yes.
Okay.
Hey.
That's a success.
Okay. And since we're sort of in loose initiative space, could I also get that check from Sir Sebastian if you are going to try using your rigging gun in this way?
I think what I'm instead going to try and do is wait if it looks like he's going to rush us. And then, so I think I'll be doing on my turn is sitting down, presumably the monofilament, because it's a trailing harpoon with a monofilament wire. If I can secure one end of it, because I assume might be more distracted by being shot at by our more competent members of the party.
Okay. Then go ahead and roll damage for me, please, Fretful Toy.
Okay.
What type of rifle was that again?
It's a smart rifle.
A smart rifle, okay. So that is going to be 2d10 damage. This is a pretty
armor piercing.
So this is a pretty good usage of this exact thing. Woo. Okay. So as Plus begins to rush in your direction, he of course does collide with the hail of bullets that your smite rifle puts out. And while this initially looks like it is a very successful way of getting rid of Plus, it does appear that there is a little bit of a glow of paracausality around the robot. Meaning that it is using its connection to the NHP to self-repair. So you have a little bit of time to try and prevent that, or otherwise stop the situation from occurring.
Actually, What I might do is,
Smash the siphons.
yeah, I'm just saying I might point the rigging gun at one of these terminals, which look like it's probably more of a hub for this Wi-Fi sort of connection. She'll glance towards Overt and Cupboard and say, if I can put a hole in it, see if you can pull the spear out. It's barbed, it'll do more damage. I'll then point and fire the
Okay.
probably as close a range as possible.
Excellent.
I assume speed for gun.
It would be combat as well, but in this case, I think I'm just going to give it to you because this is not exactly a moving target, and you are in a relatively controlled situation for the second.
Okay, I will get a twank of this ancient-looking spear gun, putting a barbed harpoon into the side of one of the wire-filled messes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing so causes a rain of sparks to sort of emerge from this now perforated Wi-Fi router, for lack of a nicer term. And while it's not total, you do see the sort of paracausal glow coming from Plus's body disappear, or at least diminish significantly. Glancing over, you can see another similar relay, and for the sake of time, easily deal with it in a similar way. The NHP itself begins to flutter, and you can see the dance of lights across this sort of non-Euclidean floating shape in the center of the room, reorganize into something beautiful. But as you do so, you begin to feel the shudder of the station sort of coming back online as it reconnects with everything. Fretful. You hear in your mind, "Thank you. I can now think once again."
You're very welcome, friend. I killed the time parasite for you.
Oh shit, there were time parasites?
Yes, it's one of those. The plus is a time parasite. It's the only explanation.
Mm. Well, allow me to dispose of the issue. And you hear a general alarm start throughout the station. Warning, sanitization process beginning in 30 seconds. Should you wish to leave, I would suggest you make haste. And here is going to be the last check of the game. I'm going to need speed checks from everybody
Yeah, let's
as
fucking
y'all
run.
get the fuck out of this station.
Fretful's just gonna stay.
Ooh.
Fretful, actually quite enjoys the sensation of dying.
Okay.
I think
So Fretful's going to hang out with the NHP until it's all done.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk shop for a while.
Okay.
Before everyone, I guess, gets on the elevator, climbs up the ladder, whatever,
Mhm.
of it casts one glance back at the NHP and at Fretful, and softly sighs to himself. I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles, and heads up the ladder.
Oh, you got it in there. Love it. All right, so speed tests plus any applicable skills, everybody who's trying to escape.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Go down to 35. I
Uh-oh.
like my odds.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Get down off the ladder, you fool!
Just
Uh,
kicking
s-
y'all on my way up.
so as you all are making your way upwards, you proceed up through the crew quarters and quickly realize that the airlocks here have been mangled, probably in the same accident as the thing that mangled the docking mechanisms. Heading further upwards, you pass through the canteen and realize that this is the one level of the station that doesn't have a connection to the central spire. And once you reach ore processing, you spend a few seconds punching through, going, "Oh god, oh god, oh god! Please open the massive door that allows us to get out through the loading dock." And over at Ops, you pass through the force field out into the central spire and turn back just in time to see a blinding white flash as everything inside the station is sanitized.
Holy shit.
You just see a mustache come floating through the.
I salute it. Did good, soldier.
Silence of space wraps itself around you as you float your way back up the central spire towards the shuttle, where you reconnect and re-enter your clone pod and dump safely back into your physical body, while all the rest of your friends are left hacking and sputtering as they lose their lunches, having just got dump shocked through death back into their bodies. Another successful day within retrospection.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Fucking bravo.
Love.
That's you know what? That is a
Survival.
higher survival rate than previous runs with similar scenarios.
Ah, great work, everybody. Great work. Oh, that ruled. Hold on. Let's bring us back to the little screen. Nice. Ah, so good. We're a little tight on time, but I do definitely like doing comments and kudos. So, do people want to quickly go around the table and highlight a cool thing another person did?
I'd immediately like to pip in, certainly for keeping the NHP spectacularly throughout and setting the tone exceptionally well, pretty much straight off the bat, with just random manic knife waving at the start, and then it all going wonderfully downhill from there. It's very tone well set and well played.
Yeah, thank you guys. That was awesome all around. Fretful. I have never been so perturbed by another player character in my life.
Yeah.
I loved the little robot drawing, first of all.
Thank you.
Made by the amazing Alice Muse Games on Twitter. Go check her out. She does great
Earthbound
pixel artwork.
energy of those pixel arts were off the chart. I love them. I love
Okay,
them so
I
much.
really appreciate that you caught that, because Earthbound sprites were specifically the inspiration for the style behind those.
No, for sure. They were great. In fact, let's move over to the little credits so people can see all the fantastic things that went into putting all this together. Continue with praising each
Yes.
other, please do.
I gotta say kudos to Fretful for just the insane cookie analogies. It's fucking great.
I do still also need to meet Bert, so we're gonna have a part 2 at some point.
Definitely.
If I had survived, I would have named this little robot bird in Victory's honor.
Oh, the robots died.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not-
Sanitized.
Yeah, well,
At least
I would-
the freezer's cleaned out.
Mhm.
the freezer's definitely clean.
It's been times where I feel I could do with that. Purge apartments.
I would like to thank everybody for coming along with me on this strange fusion of almost whodunit investigation with what is supposed to be a very gruesome horror system.
The tension
thank you
was
for coming.
fucking
Yeah.
palpable, honestly.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
I'm so happy with that.
And speaking of murder mysteries, please do all of y'all stay on the line. Not necessarily. Well, okay. So in just under an hour, in 50 minutes, this stream will be back online with the second session that we have for Phantom Arts Fest. I'm sure you're all wondering why I've gathered you here this evening as a tabletop RPG inspired by the likes of the movie Clue and Haunting on Hill House, where a whole bunch of people try and murder each other in a spooky mansion in order to claim an absurd inheritance, which is the game that I'm running. I'm very nervous. I've been spending my time really enjoying this session while also doing my makeup. There was a point where Tom told a very good joke and I almost poked myself in the eye with eyeliner. But yes, please do come back in 50 minutes for the next show. Also, if y'all are on Twitter, please do tweet using the Phantom Arts Fest, all one word hashtag, to let the people out there know your thoughts, and I'll like retweet y'all and stuff. I see there's a ton of people who've tuned in. It really, really, really warms my heart that you've all showed up for such fabulous storytelling, and we hope to see you for the rest of this fabulous weekend. But until then, we'll say goodbye and see you in 50 minutes. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Farewell.
Yeah.